Welcome back, my friends. We are deep into the fall season now, and I'm starting to feel kind of sentimental about all of the traditions and basically everything that makes autumn special. So I thought I would share with you today everything that I think makes autumn special, everything that I enjoy to do, from the books I love to read, to the activities I like to do with my family, to the foods that I really enjoy, and just delve deep into what makes this time of year so special to me. So join me as I go on this journey talking about basically all of my favorite things in this ultimate autumnal video. Hi lovelies! I realized that I hadn't even done a fall video where I just talked about my favorite things and just went through all of the best of autumn. So I'm going to be talking about my favorite hobbies, and then we'll get to activities and some of my favorite foods to eat or drink in autumn, some of my favorite things that I've been enjoying this season, and finally end this with a book haul. And I thought that would just be a lot of fun. And so let's start with my absolute favorite hobbies to enjoy in autumn. The first one is reading, obviously. I have this booktube channel. I love to read. Right now, I am reading 3 books that I'm really enjoying. Those books are In the Company of Witches by Orly Wallace. This is a cozy paranormal mystery series. It's about this girl. She has these 2 aunts. She's an adult. She is revealed very quickly as a witch, just like her aunts. Something happens at the very beginning of the book, just like many cozy mystery series. Someone dies. And pretty soon we get the idea that one of her aunts has become the suspect. So she wants to clear her aunt's name. She goes about doing that. I'm only a few chapters in and I'm enjoying this. I think I'm probably going to read this tonight on Sprints. Next, I'm reading The October Country by Ray Bradbury. This is a set of short stories, and I believe this is horror, but I don't know if it's like classic horror, what you think of for horror. They're just weird, I think. I can tell already that Ray Bradbury can really hit the atmospheric mark when it comes to writing. He is just such an atmospheric writer. I've really enjoyed it so far. I've only just read 1 story, but I'm looking forward to continuing on with this. I'm usually not much of a short story collection reader, but I think it's a good time of year for something like this. Finally, I am reading a gothic historical romance. This is I think you could even say a romantic suspense. This is On the Night of the 7th Moon by Victoria Holt. This was picked for me. I let y'all vote, and this was picked out of 3 of the historical gothic romance options that I gave. And this one is really cool. It's set in Germany, and our heroine, she's at this school. She gets lost and is found by this mysterious man who takes her back to this castle/hunting lodge. They're in this like misty, foggy forest, and she can't stop thinking about him after that night. And that's all I know so far. We're only in the beginning too for this one, and I am really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to finding out what happens next. So those are the books that I'm reading right now and enjoying, but I do have a few books that I want to pick up next. So these are the books that I want to pick up next. I have Babel by R.F. Kuang and One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. One Dark Window was on my TBR, and so I really should get to it, and I want to. This is like a gothic cottagecore fantasy that is about this girl who, she has this monster within her. Her kingdom is called Blunder, and it's being devoured by some sort of evil, and she's on a quest to save it. And she meets this highwayman, and they go on a quest to save their kingdom, but she does have this monster within her. Danger lurks behind every corner. And I've heard this is really atmospheric and beautifully written, and I can't wait to get to this. And I'm pretty sure y'all have all heard about Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is a dark academia that came out last year that has been super, super popular. This is about Robin. He is a Chinese immigrant, and he goes to Babel, which is like the language school at Oxford, I believe. And in this world, or reimagining of our world, the magic system is all about language. So the language, like translation, produces magic in some sort of way, but I'm not sure how. And I guess there are a lot of very interesting themes in here about education, politics, about uprisings. I think there's actually a lot to be delved into when it comes to this book from what I've heard. So I'm very excited to see what I get from it when I read it. Some more activities that I really enjoy in fall are the kinds of things that allow me to sit back and kind of decompress and think slowly and clearly, or even just fully try to turn my brain off altogether. I am one who always has racing thoughts. That's a huge problem of mine, and something I've been working really hard this year to try to figure out how to lessen that issue. A lot of it comes down to meditation, and some of it comes down to activities that I can be creative with that also allow me to simmer down and shut off my brain. One of those is sketching. I have gotten really into sketching this year, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm not very good, and that's okay. I just really like to do it. And it allows me to softly be creative and create lines and recreate lines and just create something out of nothing. A lot of times I don't know what I'm going to draw, and sometimes I do try to just recreate something that I'm looking at or something that I see online, just to see if I can practice creating those shadows and those lines and those dimensions of light to dark. So this is something that's been really fun to play around with this year, and I definitely see myself continuing on with this journey. I also love and have loved doing this activity for a long time. This is rubbing herbs. I feel so weird saying that, but so I've had a garden for years, and I like to grow my own herbs. I have most of our perennial herbs are quite large, so I have a lot of them, and I like to dry my own herbs in the fall so that I can then put them all up and have dried herbs through the rest of the fall and winter. So rubbed sage is what I do probably the most, because I just think that's the best herb to rub, and it's just, there's nothing better than hand rubbed sage. And it really just produces, it brings out all the oils and just makes the best quality dried herb. And so I like to rub my own sage, and it's literally just a task where you're using your hands but not having to use your brain at all. And I use it as a time to try to meditate. You can also do this with oregano and basil. I think those two herbs also lend themselves pretty well to rubbing. Other ones that don't, I would say like harder herbs like thyme or rosemary, but sage, oregano, and basil are definitely a wonderful rubbed, but most especially sage. For the train ride home, I hope to make you my own. For the train ride home, I hope to make you my own. Some other hobbies that I have include crochet and gardening, obviously, as well as making the bookmarks. I do sell bookmarks on Etsy. I love paper crafts. I have all sorts of hobbies, but especially the ones where I can actually sit down and listen to an audiobook, or sit down and just light some candles and have a cup of tea and just kind of relax and calm down. Those are the ones I enjoy. So that's more likely something like a crochet or a sketch, maybe some embroidery. I've done that too, and I think I do need to get back into my embroidery. Next, we can discuss activities. First, I think there are a lot of like classic activities that I know a lot of people like to do in autumn, one of which is certain movies, right? There are certain movies that we all really enjoy to watch, or TV shows as well. I know a lot of people like Gilmore Girls. I specifically always watch Over the Garden Wall every single year. Now my kids have gotten really into it and we all really enjoy to watch that. That has that classic like cottagecore aesthetic, and that's creepy, whimsical forest, dark, cottagey vibes, and it's really good, but it's heartwarming. You've got these two kids, they've gone into this forest and they've gotten lost and they are trying to find their way back home. And a lot of kind of spooky and scary things happen to them, but some like cozy found family elements are incorporated as well. And some things are just so quirky and quintessential, and like there are certain things like I will never not love the song Potatoes and Molasses. That just won't happen. I freaking adore that song. It's so cute. I don't think I could ever actually eat potatoes and molasses, but it's a really good song. I also really like to watch certain old movies. Like the other night, I just watched Jane Eyre for the first time. That was really good, though. Wow, that story is unhinged. Like, I didn't realize how unhinged that was, but wow. So I watched that. But yeah, I like to watch old movies. I do like to watch Gilmore Girls. I think a lot of people do. That's just another one that's great. Practical Magic and Hocus Pocus. I love Halloween Town. There are just certain ones that just we have to watch in the fall. I also love to watch the Food Network, especially in fall. I think I do most of my Food Network watching in fall and winter. I love Food Network. I have been an avid cooker and someone who really likes to watch Food Network and learn from Food Network or other cooking shows for a very long time. So, especially in fall when there's so many fun foods and recipes I want to try out, it's just a good time. Another activity that we always do is go to our local farm that is just down the road and visit and get our pumpkins there and take family pictures. And this year was no different. And it's mostly local grown, and the pumpkins, they have all different heirloom varieties and fun varieties to choose from. I also really like a lot of the products there. We always go there. We go there quite often. There are certain things I just love to get there. They have this like spicy pickled garlic there, and then they also have, it's like a maple pecan apple butter that I absolutely adore. My kids always have a blast, but especially this year, they had the most fun they've probably ever had because they were really big enough to just run around and pick out their pumpkins. Jonah was picking up a new pumpkin every 2 minutes, trying to always pick ones up that were just way too big. Some of them were like bigger than he is, and Noah was a bit more unsure about picking out a pumpkin, but he did by the end. But it's just one of those family memories that I love to produce. I love to create this family memory every year. We always take pictures. I have since Jonah was a newborn, and we like to just take our pictures there every year, and they have a really nice setup for it too. It's actually gotten better every year, and I'm sure that it'll get even better next year. This place is really nice because they actually have giant strawberry fields where you can go strawberry you pick too, and we love it there. We love it. So we've talked about the Food Network and pumpkins, and I feel like that just brings us naturally to food. So let's talk about foods real quick. Now, there are some classic things that we always love to have in fall, but sometimes we don't have the time or the energy to create those things, like pumpkin pie or cinnamon rolls from scratch or apple fritters. I love to cook and I love to bake. Like, that is something I love to do, but it's just not always going to happen. So I wanted to show a couple of examples for some things that I do when I want to feel cozy and treat myself, but I don't have the time or the energy or either to do that. One of them is just to toast up some really nice bread with butter in a pan and slather that in apple butter. That immediately feels like fall. It's the perfect breakfast on a cool, crisp fall morning. Another one is tea. I like tea all year round, but fall, just nothing hits like the fall teas, you know? Pumpkin spice tea, apple, chamomile. I have a lot of really good teas that I love, but I drink so much more tea in autumn and winter than I do in summer and spring. So one of the teas that I really enjoy is African Autumn by Harney & Sons. This one is just a really nice combination. It's both unique and classic at the same time. I also like my new hemp tea that I got recently. That's been really calming and enjoyable for me in the evenings. And this one, we really like this other brand called Republic of Tea. And this one is actually one of my husband's favorite, this orange ginger mint. Of course, I love all warm drinks, from coffee to pumpkin spice lattes to chai tea lattes to apple cider. But tea is just one of the easiest things I think to make that you can make feel extra special. Another one that I discovered recently is to do a fruit plate with pears and grapes, or apples would be really good, with cinnamon brown sugar cream cheese. They also have pumpkin cream cheese now too, but I really like the cinnamon brown sugar. And it's really, really good with pears, and it's a really nice way to have a fresh snack or dessert or appetizer, or you could have it for breakfast. It's really any time of day, it's perfect, and it immediately tastes like fall. If you do want to make something special, baking is always such a good go-to. I had a hankering for chocolate this week. I was planning on doing some like pumpkin kind of blondies, like pumpkin bars. I really wanted chocolate. I wanted like peanut butter chocolate. So I ended up making peanut butter chocolate bars. They were these blondies, so yeah. But I put peanut butter in them and chocolate, and they were absolutely delicious. They turned out perfectly. I will put the recipe that I used down below in the description. But I really feel like any baking is immediately going to feel like fall and winter, so you can bake anything and it be seasonal, honestly. Other than food, I have some other favorite things, one of which is candles. As you can see next to me, I adore candles. I also adore pumpkins, anything that is made out of a pumpkin, shaped like a pumpkin, or actually pumpkins. I think that's just like a given. Tea, like I said before, that's just like a go-to favorite of mine. I always have a cabinet chock full of all different varieties of tea. I also always have my own dried herbs to make my own tea blends with, like lavender, chamomile, peppermint, holy basil, those types of things. Lemon balm is another wonderful tea to grow yourself. So I love just always having dried herbs and teas in my cabinet ready to go for whatever tea I want to make. Essential oils are kind of like a year-round go-to for me. I don't like to support MLMs. I have found a few different essential oil companies that I've like really enjoyed. One of them is Plant Therapy. This time of year I like to use cassia, which is kind of like cinnamon. I also like lavender year-round. It's especially good just to help you relax. They also have these like kids safe varieties that are really great. We live in the forest, so citronella is also always a go-to. I always make our own mosquito repellent. I make it for the kids, I make it for us. That's what we use, and citronella is a basic in there, along with rosemary and lavender, and peppermint as well. Okay, so I guess that we should talk about the books that I have hauled. Okay, so let's start with the like little books that I have, like these like mass market books. So the first book that I have here is Keepsake Crimes by Laura Childs. This is the first book in her scrapbook series, and it's set on the fringe of New Orleans French Quarter. And the main character's name is Carmela Bertrand, and she's got this little scrapbooking shop, Memory Mine. It says that business is booming and life is cozy. Oh my gosh, I love that it even just says like life is cozy. I want to read this because I am really into paper crafting. And I love little scrapbook shops. I went to this really cute one when we were up in New York by the Finger Lakes region. And there was this really cute one, and I just had so much fun in it, and I want to find more little scrapbooking shops. But yeah, I love paper crafting, and I just thought it'd be really fun to read a cozy. Like, you always see like quilting ones and like crocheting ones and knitting ones, or like bookshop ones, but like a scrapbooking shop one I have not seen yet. So I had to pick this one up when I saw it. This one is 9 Coaches Waiting by Mary Stewart. I had to do some mending here. It's kind of hard to get like an old school copy of this, so when I did, the cover was it was not connected, so I just kind of taped it back on, but that's fine. I really do like the cover of this one though. The back says, "A strange terror coiled in the shadows behind the brooding elegance of a huge chateau. It lay there like some dark and twisted thing, waiting, watching, ready to strike." So I think that this is supposed to be a gothic romance or a romantic gothic suspense. I really want to try more of this kind of genre. This one I think is kind of pretty well known. And then I have Judith McNaught's Night Whispers. I didn't know that she did romantic suspense, so when I saw this at the used bookstore, I had to pick it up. It was like $2. So it says, a policewoman in the small Florida community, Sloan Reynolds, knows that her modest upbringing was a long way from the social whirl of Palm Beach, the world inhabited by her father and her sister Paris, total strangers to Sloan. They had never tried to contact her until a sudden invitation arrives to meet them and indulge in the Palm Beach social season. But when FBI agent Paul Richardson informed her that her father and his associates are suspected of fraud, conspiracy, and murder, Sloan agrees to enter into her father's life while hiding her true profession. Sloane's on top of her game until she meets Noah. Ooh, and then there's a shocking murder that shatters the seductive facade of the wealth and glamour surrounding her. This sounds like a really fun romantic suspense. Next, I have A Quiet Life in the Country. This is a cozy mystery. I think this is historical. It's set in 1908, and this is the first book in the Amelia Hardcastle series. It says, Lady Amelia Hardcastle is an eccentric widow with a secret past. Florence Armstrong, her maid and her confidant, is an expert in martial arts. The year is 1908, and they've just moved from London to the country hoping for a quiet life. But it is not long before Lady Hardcastle is forced out of her self-imposed retirement. There's a dead body in the woods, and the police are on the wrong scent. Lady Hardcastle makes some inquiries of her own, and it seems she knows a surprising amount about crime investigation. I just think this sounds so cute. This just sounds so freaking cute. I need to read this. Here's another book that I have been unsure about whether or not to pick up for a good long while, and this is Kate Morton's The Forgotten Garden. And that's because this really borders on litfic, and I do not really read litfic, but I think this might be gothic magical realism. Is that litfic? I don't know. But look at this inside cover. That's beautiful. Also, just this wraparound cover in general. It's probably one of the most beautiful covers that I've seen on modern day like paperbacks. But this is supposed to be kind of gothic, and it's also all about this like hidden like secret garden kind of situation, and it just, something about it just screams me like magical gothic and gardens. To me, that just is like, Hannah, read me. Next I have Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. This was a gift from Kristen, and thank you so much, Kristen. It says the witch is back and ready for revenge with a little help from her friends in this fresh, sizzling rom-com by Lana Harper. Emmy Harlow is a witch, but not a very powerful one, in part because she hasn't been home to the magical town of Thistle Grove in years. And I guess she meets this girl named Talia, and Talia's been heartbroken by Gareth as well. And the two of them kind of set out to try to like get back at him, but in the process fall in love. So it's like a witchy rom-com sapphic romance, and it sounds like it's also going to have very cute small town vibes, and I'm hoping it gives some Gilmore Girls as well. And I picked something up that I don't know when I'll ever get to this, but it's The Complete Sherlock Holmes. I got this on sale, and it's just in really great condition. It's got these beautiful gilded edges, and yeah, it's The Complete Sherlock Holmes. I do think maybe this year I want to read one short story, and I don't know which one though. Let me know if you've read any Sherlock Holmes. Which one should I start with? because this has all of them. I got one more Halloween style book, and that's The Death of Jane Lawrence, and this is supposed to be a gothic style book, and I think it's a horror. Practical, unassuming Jane Shorenfield has done the calculations and decided that the most secure path forward is this: a husband in a marriage of convenience who will allow her to remain independent and occupied with meaningful work. Her first choice, the dashing but reclusive Dr. Augustine Lawrence, agrees to her proposal with the only one condition: she must never visit Lindridge Hall, his crumbling family manor outside of town. Yet, on their wedding night, an accident strands her at his door in the pitch-black rainstorm, and she finds him changed. Wow, super interesting and unique synopsis and concept, and I'm very intrigued. Finally, I have two books that I wanted to discuss real quickly. The first one is The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. This is a book of poetry and art, and it's like just basically all of the seasons. And I actually got this to use. Don't hate on me. I got this to use in some of my scrapbooking and stuff. But it's really pretty. And it's just like her little notes on like what was going on that day, like a field journal. October 16th. My sister sent me some lovely crimson toadstools with white spots this morning from Keston Common. Though a good deal damaged by the journey, all the heads of the toadstools being severed from their stems, I managed to make a sketch of one or two. And then obviously gorgeous art. And I also got the Christmas Almanac. And I think this is by maybe the same people that do the almanacs. I'm not sure. It says edited by Natasha Chaburi Fried and Lena Tabori. It says it's the ultimate Christmas book, part reference, part anthology, part cookbook, part history book, part songbook, part shopping guide, part crafts, and part trivia book. So kind of a little bit of everything. And I just thought that this would be really fun. I like collecting Christmas anthologies. So there you guys have it. That is everything that I have hauled, and just a little bit about all the things that I really like to do and to enjoy in autumn. I hope you guys really liked this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All my social media is down below. If you want to connect with me more, I also have a Patreon, and that link is down below in the description as well. I do post extra content there and do exclusive read-alongs and readathons and all sorts of fun stuff. We have a book club, and it's good time. Don't forget to comment down below and maybe give me like a jack-o'-lantern emoji, because we're getting really close to Halloween and I just cannot wait. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Who will care for the worn out? Rest with me, close to curtains, brew some herbal